So this week's Parsha, we learn about a Megefa. And at the end of Parsha's Balak, and the tragedy of Zimri ben Solo and Kozba Bastia, an epidemic struck the people and 24,000 people perished. And in this week's Parsha, Vayehi acharei hamagefa, Vayomer Hashem el Moshe ve'el Elazar ben Aaron hakohen leimor, Se'u es roish kol hadas b'nei Yisrael. Count kol hadas b'nei Yisrael. And whenever HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave a mitzvah to count the people, Rashi writes, Laharois chiboson shel Yisrael. After tragedy struck, 24,000 perished. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Se'u es roish kol adas b'nei Yisrael. And when HaKadosh Baruch Hu asks Moshe and Elazar to count the people, it is to emphasize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu not only loves Klal Yisrael, but each and every one of them is precious. Each and every one of them is a olam mole. Each and every one of them is irreplaceable. Irreplaceable. Vahi acharei hamagefa. We are not achrei hamagefa. So yesterday I had a long conference call with Dr. Friedman from the Chemed organization in Lakewood, and we spoke at length. Baruch Hashem, in America, things seem to be totally under control. In Brooklyn, Lakewood, many other communities in the East Coast, there were almost no recorded cases for weeks. And Baruch Hashem, we thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu every day. But in other places in America, there's an awful surge in new cases. And I do advise caution, even in Brooklyn, even in Lakewood, because this virus is so baffling and we know so little about it. I personally know people in Etzisol that had Corona Pesach time and they have it again. So nobody could promise immunity. We don't know this virus well enough. So Baruch Hashem, things seem to be good in New York, in New Jersey, but I still would advise being careful and being cautious. In Etzisol, we're not in a good place right now. Halavai, we could say V'yehi acharei hamagefa, but we don't need to wait achrei hamagefa. Vayehi b'toch hamagefa, we also need to recognize that each and every one of us is precious, irreplaceable. The Rambam writes at the end of Perek Aleph Hilchos Mila, when the Rambam brings the halachas, Tinuk shemeis echav machos Mila, we postpone the Mila, we don't do Mila. If there's any sakat to the child, we push off the bris. And that's a fundamental halacha. Pikuach nefesh doiche kol haTorah kula. Pikuach nefesh overrides Shabbos and Yom Kippur that are alav sheyesh beikoros. Definitely pushes aside a mitzvah sasei she'ein beikoros. Mila bismana is not koros. Koros is only if a person doesn't malach kol yemei chayav. But the Rambam adds on an amazing line. So the Rambam writes, if the child might be in skona, we are doiche the bris. Because you could always be makayim and mitzvah sasei la'achar zman. Different time, different place. But nefesh achas miyasol she'ovad I efshar lahachzira. And if you lost nefesh achas miyasol, you could never replace it and you could never bring it back. That's what the Rambam adds on. Beroichav datoyu beruach kadshoy, to explain the rationale of pikuach nefesh adoiche kol haTorah kula. I efshar lahachziroi. If you cause the demise of one Jew, you could never make up for it. You could never bring him back. To him and to his family and to his children, it's an irreplaceable loss. Sa'u es rosh kol adas b'nei Yisrael, because each and every one of them is an oile mole, and that's what Chazal teach us. That is a standard we must live with. Kol ha'makayim nefesh achas mol kilu kiyam oilam mole, v'kol ha'ma'abed nefesh achas misol kilu ibed oilam mole. So I plead and I beg with all of you, especially Yoshvei Eretz Yisrael, but not only Yoshvei Eretz Yisrael. Many places in the world, this pandemic is still at its height. I spoke to people from Florida, and even in the Jewish community there are many new cases. Florida, California, South America, and in Eretz Yisrael as well. Follow the rules. A shul is not necessarily a dangerous place if you follow the rules. In my shul, no one would come into shul without a mask. So a few weeks ago, we rejoiced when we reopened yeshivas and koilam and shuls, and to my dismay, many yeshivas closed down again. Those yeshivas and those shuls that strictly adhered to all the rules, it's not a dangerous place. And in those yeshivas, Baruch Hashem, Koil, Torah, Nishma, Baroma, and others that didn't follow the rules, hundreds of yeshiva bochum contracted the virus. Tens of Rosh Yeshivas and Marbitzei Torah are ill. And this is not Gzeirus Shamayim, it's of our making. We could have prevented this. So yeshivas opened, tens of yeshivas are closed, and once again, hundreds, maybe thousands of yeshiva bochum are out in the street, sitting at home. And this didn't need to be. If we would just follow the rules, we could have prevented this. So I beg and plead, Ano, mahu rachum av'atu rachum. And this is the greatest mitzvah, preventing pikuach nefesh. So some of you think at the cholera virus, everybody died. No. Rabbi Tzalal HaKoyen Mevilna in Reishis Bekurim in his Shuvah says, hundreds of people were ill in Vilna and no one died. That's a statement. That's a statement. Va'afal pikein, the shoyla meishav and some seifel, Arab Soros Salanta Paskin, everyone should eat. This just proves how Gedol Yisrael were machmir by Safik Pekuach Nefesh. I don't think the situation today is very much different than it was in their days. Sometimes it was worse, sometimes it was better. The Bialocha, when he quotes this halacha, he writes, B'mokim she'eina machale b'zam. Some places it was horrific, and other places it was milder. Just like Corona. I don't think cholera was very much different than Corona. And Afar Piken Gedol Yisrael were machmir b'pikuach nefesh, and that is exactly how we need to act today. Sofek nefashos lechumra. So all I have to say, follow the rules and daven, and daven, and daven. And the schus of Torah and the schus of Tefillah, we should be zeicher. Ein peretz ve'ein tzvocha berachoi v'oseinu, shekodesh Baruch Hu yemena shoid v'sheva, hosa kol machla u'megefa. And let's hope in the coming Tisha B'Av we will be able to rejoice. Rejoice with Divrei HaNavi. The Navi Zechariah, Tzom Ravi, Tzom Chamishi, Tzom Shvi, Tzom Asir, Yule Beis Yehuda, LeSosen, UleSimcha, UleMoyedim Toivim, BeBias Goyel Tzedek, BeMheiro, V'Yomeinu, Amen.